Hello and welcome to the CHING. Last time we talked about divination. Today we are going to talk about the 64 hexagrams. Before we talked about the trigrams, such as, for example, Qian, right? As in the three yangs, which makes up the heaven. Now, all we need to do to make it a hexagram is to put three more. So simply by combining the 8 different trigrams in different ways. For example, heaven, and then we say heaven again. Then we have Qian again for the 64 hexagrams. Or you can take out the bottom, or maybe take out the top if you want, and add water, for example. Then we have heaven and water. And you get the idea. So as we have said before, we have, for example, the Wuji, which then becomes the Taiji, and which then becomes the yin and yang, which then each become the different 4 phenomenons, which then become the 8 trigrams, and then in the end the 8 trigrams then in the end becomes the 64 hexagrams. So that's the basic idea. Okay, so now we're going to first look at a picture of a hexagram here. Okay, this is a hexagram. We have fire on the bottom and water on the top. This certain hexagram is called the Ji hexagram, which means the good. Different hexagrams present different meanings. As we have said before in our divination episode, that every hexagram will give you a new meaning. This one gives you a good meaning. And then you can see how we have these certain what we call yao, or layers, of the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And you can see they're separated into 2 parts. The water, and then we have the fire. Okay, so in general, each of these yao, or each of these layers, are represented by a single meaning. For example, over here we have a single yang on the bottom. We call it Chu Yao, or the beginning Yao, which is, over here there's 3 characters, which means at the beginning things are hard. And then we have the second Yao, or layer, which says Er Duo Yu, which means on the second layer you will receive much honor. Third, you will receive, or you will encounter danger or something that will trouble you. And then the 4th layer is you will acquire fear. You will have fear. 5th layer is you will have success. And 6th layer is everything will become easy. So this is the basic idea of how each of these each of these layers represent. Now on to the next diagram. Okay, so you can see in this picture that these 6 yaos, or 6 layers, are also separated into the heaven position, the man position, and the earth position. I have the heaven position on the top layer and the 5th layer. And then we have the human or people position on the 4th and 3rd layer, or yao. And then we have the earth position on the 2nd and beginning yao. And if you have noticed, we never call this yao the beginning yao. We always call it the beginning yao rather than the first yao. And then we also talk about, as in the last layer, the 6th yao. But we don't say that, do we? We say the top yao. We'll talk about this in our next lecture and why it is this. Just keep this in mind. And you can see that in between here, over here, this is the center. The center, and then we have the top and the bottom. Okay, so also they have a problem with the yin and the yang. So we have on here, the yang is on, we can see the beginning, on the 3rd and the 5th. And then the yin layers, or yin yaos, are on the top, 4th, and 2nd layers. So normally, if you see one of the explanations of one of the 64 hexagrams, you will see things such as where the yang will be and where the yin will be. We'll go into that later. Okay, so these are the basic ideas of Yao, the layers, and what the 64 hexagrams are. Just remember, it's really simple. You just put two random trigrams together and you have a 64 trigram. Hexagram, one of them at least. And then it gets complicated because there's 64 of them and each of them has a very, very different meaning. Okay, so thank you all for listening and see you next time.